Hi, this is Gloria Broming with Transition Laguna, and I'm here with some fellow Transition Laguna people here. We've got Sue Bibee, Linda Elbert, Moji, and Kathy Tanaka, and we're all just freshly back from a great vacation and educational tour up to Sonoma to the Heirloom Expo of 2013. So we just thought we'd come back and sort of share a little bit about the information that we learned while we were there. And to start this off, it's going to be sort of a panel, sort of just sharing some, I think, pertinent information that we learned while we were there so that we can share this information with you. And so, Sue, do you want to sort of discuss some of the things that you learned and wanted to share?
Sure. I think what we've been doing a lot of cooking and different kinds of cooking classes and working together with our gardens and doing that. And so learning about fermentation, which was a big buzzword up there, was really important. I felt like I learned a lot about healthy bacteria, and I love that part of it. And I'm really looking forward to starting to use it in different ways. So yeah, that was one of the, in the food aspect. It was great because there was food and gardening, and we got to just learn so much. The biodynamic was just amazing. It's so hard to put into words because it was so amazing. And here the guy, he's predicted things in 1926 that actually are happening today. And when you see that, you're just so happy that you get to be part of it and learn so much.
I agree. That's good. Linda, what do you think about the trip?
Well, Sue mentioned the biodynamic part, and I've been studying a lot about permaculture, and up at the Heirloom Festival, they were actually talking about combining some of the things from permaculture with the biodynamics. And kind of the take-home message that I got, if I have to summarize it, was when we work in our gardens, to really be good observers and look at what's going on naturally in the garden. Look at what plants like kind of help each other, seem to help each other grow and grow together, and look at the seasons. And they have this like moon calendar too, which I don't really understand. But what I hear is just really look at what nature does and use the patterns in nature in creating your garden. So one thing for me is, like, I've always planted all my tomatoes together in one bed. And I feel like that really sort of sets my tomatoes up for vulnerability. And so next year, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to spread my tomatoes out in the garden, and I'm going to put some companion plants around them, because that's what nature does. Nature doesn't do, monoculture. It mixes it all up. So that was a real exciting message for me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Moji, what were some of the things you came back with?
Well, some of the stuff that we think is so basic, like the whole question of what is food? The whole definition of food is something that's under a big question mark today. It's a political issue, it's a health issue, and so one of the big things for me going to this event was my understanding in my mind of what I think about as food. And in some ways it was expanded. For example, things that are fermented that you wouldn't think about are actually really important foods that we haven't been eating, things that our ancestors ate. And is food just something that fills you up when you're hungry? Is the nutritional value of food important? And then, then it gets to the complicated, where when I attended some of the fermentation workshops, because I want to start doing that again, it's something my mother did years ago, fermenting vegetables and things. I learned that, so you want to make sauerkraut or you want to make kimchi or whatever. Well, there were people in these workshops who were having issues and stuff wasn't turning out, and the professionals who were helping us troubleshoot made us realize, well, what kind of water are you using? Does your water have tons of chlorine in it? Because that's not conducive if you're trying to make sauerkraut. And where do your vegetables come from? And there's naturally occurring a good bacteria, on your cabbage, and you really don't want to wash all that off, if it's coming from an organic garden. So it's just, as an individual, it made me really think more deeply about what is my food, where is it coming from, and what is it doing to me? And so for me, that was a huge issue. It's something that hardly anybody really thinks about anymore. And I got my own fermentation crock. And so last year's expo really made me think about the things I put on my skin. So I was really inspired by the vendors and the people who made their own soaps, lotions, and conditioner. And so in the year's time since last year, as you know, now I make my own conditioner and salt scrubs.
Terrific, by the way.
And so this year it was fermentation. So by next year this time, watch out.
Uh-oh.
Your kitchen will be full of my fermented dishes. What about you, Kathy? What did you like about the
I was
expo?
really excited because I met Shoshana from Folk Herb Store. She's like my hero. She's like an herbalist, so I just love her. So that was really exciting, and I loved listening to her talk. And then a really important issue I think is we need to save seeds. And listening to the speakers, I just feel that is like really urgent. Like we really have to take it seriously.
Liberate the seed. It's definitely the motto.
One of the guys that I heard speak, and I think I might have been the only one that went to this, was a guy who was an artist, and he started Hudson Valley Seed Savers, so Hudson Valley in New York. And I just loved when he talked because he wanted to combine art with seed saving. And so every year they have new, seeds that they save and sell. But for the heirloom seeds, he's asked artists to design packages. So he asks artists around the world, around the country, I guess, to design the packages, and then he picks one. And he always tries to pick one that's kind of got a connection. And so I actually bought a print of one of the seed packages, and it was for a print of some beets. And the beets had been made to look like Fabergé eggs. And the reason he picked that painting was because he had other contestants for the beet seed pack. Because a long time ago in Russia, when beets were a major crop, there was a guy that grew beets for the Tsar, and he was like the Tsar's farmer, and this was the Tsar that collected Fabergé eggs. And so the beet grower became friends because Fabergé was always visiting to show the Tsar the eggs that he had made. And so the beet farmer actually had his own personal collection of Fabergé eggs because he was friends with the artist. And so he picked that guy. But the man who spoke, he really told a story about the importance of seed saving because he's got the story about the seeds on those packages, and he's doing it through art. And I felt like he had the opportunity to reach a lot of people with the importance of seed saving, with just with the line, what story do you want to tell about our food? Do you want to just tell a chemical story, or do you want to tell the story about your grandmother? And
So it was a really positive way to deliver that.
yes, it was
Right?
very gentle, really positive, and really inspiring. So.
That's exciting. Yeah, for me, I mean, there's so many. And one of the things I want to point out, here you've got 5 of us that were attending this expo. And Sue and I think, saw each other out of 3 days at workshops, maybe 5 minutes at one time.
Friends.
And we're friends. I mean, we'd see each other at night. But there's so much going on. I don't know, Moji, if we were ever in the same seminar, or Kathy, so there's so much to learn there.
What I loved, though, more than anything, was that everybody that was there they were so pure-hearted and just really wanted to share what they had learned and what they lived their life, and they really cared about us. They cared about the people there. They're doing it because they care about life. And everybody that you met. And then there's also a trade show going on that at the same time, and then there's booths for food like at a fair. And I mean, the people that we met there, they all had their story. Everybody had a story that was so interesting, and integrity, and I make my own cheese from this and that. And I met this girl, she was 18 years old, who I loved, and she and her mom, they've been doing canning from their garden, and they have fruit trees and all kinds of vegetables since she was 10. And when she was 15, they started selling all their jam and their salsas. And she goes, yeah, and sometimes we'll put in a peach with the apricot, and we've been like mixing it up. But she's 18 and she's got her nose ring, and she's like just the coolest 18-year-old that just wants life to be better. And do you want to try what I brought you from my farm? And it's just like everybody there had like such a great story or vision or whatever, and it wasn't like for themselves. It was to really enhance our lives. Yeah, that's what, for the overall integrity of it, was huge, and I loved that.
And lots of fun too. I mean,
Oh yeah, it was fun.
the contests for the most interesting pig and the cows and the sheep and the great food. Oh my goodness, every day, it's just this amazing collection of chefs and great food.
And I think one of the other things is if you plan on making a trip up there next year, the Heirloom Expo is September 9th, 10th, and 11th of 2014. Is plan on staying a few days on either side of the expo. Don't just go for the expo, because that county has so much to offer in terms of visiting farms, because they're open. They want you to come see their farms. You can go to farm-to-table dinners. You can meet these artisans that are producing these cheeses, wines made from honey. There's just a wealth of knowledge there and they really do want you to come experience and share that with you. They want to sit down and break bread with you. So I would, if you want any information on some of the places we visited, we'd certainly be glad to share that. But I would plan on seeing some of the other things happening outside of the expo as well.
Definitely.
And then Linda, I have a question. Next year, is there a possibility that you might be speaking at the Heirloom Expo?
Well, because I'm involved with Slow Food, and I'm very involved with this biodiversity project where we're trying to identify the edible plants and animals that are threatened and endangered. And the Heirloom Expo is sponsored by Baker Creek Seed Company, and they had asked Slow Food to do a booth and a panel presentation about this Ark of Taste. But they asked us like 2 months before, and they really wanted it not just California, they wanted it across the whole U.S., and we couldn't pull it together. And we thought, well, let's do it next year rather than maybe not do such a great job. So I might be on that panel.
Oh, good. I think you'd be a great person to really speak to that. I'm super excited.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So I hope that works out.
I'm sure it will. Well, thank you for joining us today, and we look forward and hope to see you at the Heirloom Expo of 2014. Farm on!